Action indeed. Now, still on the budget, what are its real implications? Now, joining me in the studio to discuss the 2014-2015 budget is Julius Kapwepwe from the Uganda Debt Network. Welcome to NTV.
Thank you very much.
I like your outfit. I think we were...
Yeah, because it's a budget speech day.
All right, thank you for joining us. We'll start with your impression of the 2014-2015 budget.
While the minister was making the presentation, her budget speech, to me it was quite clear that the reality of donor or aid cuts and threats to aid cut are coming to bite, are beginning to bite. Why? If you looked at those tax proposals that are being put to table, even taxing salt, even taxing sugar, you could clearly see that
we're trying to find other sources of income.
Yeah, but also that my impression was that it is a rather populist budget, perhaps in view of 2015 political party forthcoming elections and building, of course, into 2016 elections. So the bit of moderating the demands and expanding the fiscal space so that you are able to take care of some of those promises or even the demands that are coming to the fore.
How can it be populist? I mean, there's an increase in sugar, paraffin, salt. I need you to shed more light on that.
Yeah, for me, the populist aspect, for instance, is where against those realities, precisely as you mentioned. But you see the minister with a lot of vigor and vigilance that, yes, we are doing collections at 81.8% and wants us to believe that actually that is the reality. On the contrary, I seem to think that those other realities of taxation and that we are talking about are what are actually coming to the fore, and therefore sounding rather populist as opposed to being realistic.
The budget is at 14 trillion shillings. What are its implications, 15 actually,
it's about 15,
implications on debt?
Basically, the overall debt is going to increase. In this financial year which we are exiting, we had, in the case of domestic debt, for instance, being promised by government that the domestic borrowing would be up to about 1 trillion shillings. At the end of the day, it has become 1.7 trillion. In this particular forthcoming financial year, we have been told that the ceiling will be at about 2.5 trillion. The reality then, on the basis of this current year ending, can we really think it will be 2.5? So ideally, it will increase the overall debt burden. And in the case of domestic debt, what it means that then is that you will need, for that to happen, for the borrowing to happen, and you will need to issue treasury bonds by the Bank of Uganda. When you do, you take on a liability on behalf of the public. It is the budget, the fiscal, the budget aspect that has to come and finance that debt. It is not the Bank of Uganda itself. Of course, which itself creates a dilemma because it is you, Bank of Uganda, who is issuing this, and you are supposed to act autonomously, but you are getting money for financing your debt for your actions from the budget. That itself creates a problem. And the other bit is that, of course, when that happens, government, through Bank of Uganda, has to, once you have issued the treasury bills, then you determine the exchange rate, you also determine the interest rate. When you do that, then the principle of liberalization and free markets operations no longer holds. And the implication is that then you have lesser job creation here in Uganda, yet on the other side, the government policy is supposed to be creating more jobs.
Quickly, let's talk about a bit about the allocations to the different sectors. What do you make of them?
My impression, of course, is in the case of defense, for instance, slightly about over 1 trillion shillings being proposed. Of course, against the reality that we have UPDF presence in Garamba or on Zara, depending on how you look at it, Central Africa, Somalia, the Democratic Republic of South Sudan, and the rapid, the standby African Rapid Force, which is a component of the UPDF. Against that reality, it is not surprising. Ideally, we need the security. I think we need to look beyond just the figures and look at the performance. Where is exactly the money going? Because that has been the major part of the problem. In the case of roads, for instance, and the energy, I think the consistent pursuance of Karuma for hydropower generation is a welcome move, and that consistency of policy is the way to go. In the case of agriculture, it was quite disappointing, especially also because of those taxes that have been attached to agricultural machinery. Yet this is a dairy development, yet this is a nascent industry that we have been developing so that we are able to be competitive in that region. So that was disappointing. All
right, in a few seconds we are out of time. The Minister of Finance, Maria Chwanka, talked about a reform in government payment, having a single treasure account. How effective do you think this is going to be in curbing wastage?
That arises out of the infamous Kazinda Office of the Prime Minister scandals, and the Treasury single account is the way to go. I agree absolutely with the president, with the minister, but also doing things more electronically through the integrated financial management system is the way to go.
All right. Thank you so much, Julius Kapwepwe, for talking to us, analyzing the budget 2014-2015.